This video is going to be a little bit different than some of my videos because we are having a very different kind of week. This is kind of a special week for us because we only have 2 out of our 6 kids home all week long. So all of my bigger kids are with my in-laws for the week attending VBS at our church. So after we moved over 2 years ago now, we never switched church. We still go to the church that is closer to our old house. So it's kind of far away from this house, but it works out because all of our in-laws go there, and also it's really close to my parents' house, and we go there on Sundays anyway. So long story short, it made sense for my kids to stay with my in-laws so they could attend VBS all week this week. So we only have our 2 youngest, and we have so many plans. We are actually so excited to kind of get a little time. We say alone time, but when you go from 6 down to 2, it feels like we are on a date week, and we have so many fun things planned. This morning, I'm actually making some soap, and you guys are getting the behind the scenes here. I'm making this for the blog, and so while I recipe test, I'm also taking some pictures. I'm making a liquid soap out of bar soap, and so this recipe will be on my blog. I make so many bars of soap, and I decided it was time to figure out a way to repurpose these and use them for different things because we honestly can't use that much bar soap. And this recipe, at the time of this voiceover, I'll tell you, it turned out great. I have filled all of our liquid soap containers in our bathrooms with this, and I'm really loving it. So anyway, this recipe is on the blog. Now, next thing on my list today is I'm getting a loaf of bread going. Not only is this kind of a fun week because we are having our little date week and feel like we're on vacation, but I have 2 sisters due with babies this week. And last night, in the middle of the night when I was up for something, who knows what, probably nursing the baby, I was thinking about how, what if one of my sisters goes into labor overnight? I'll need to be able to have something to bring them for breakfast. And so I am making a loaf of bread, and I'm going to keep this on the counter. And then if it starts to get, bad or like not as fresh, I'll make another loaf because I am planning to make a French toast casserole for whatever sister goes into labor first. I'll probably end up making 2 of these, but I want to make sure that I have something ready right whenever they have the baby, because I know people bring food when you have a baby, but typically the first couple of days people are still kind of lining up the meal train, and so I try to be that person that can bring the meal right away so they have something right after giving birth. I know that's really important. So I'm getting some bread going so that I will be ready on a moment's notice to whip up a French toast casserole. Now, after I made my bread, I went back out to finish up making the soap. It had to cool, and so I let it cool and doing the finishing touches. After we are done with the soap, we are going out to dinner tonight. When you only have 2 kids, you feel like, why do you cook? You might as well go out to eat. So we are going to a nearby town. They have the cutest little downtown. So we are eating right down by the river and the railroad tracks. And after dinner, we actually went to a couple little stores over here before heading home. All right, this next clip here is actually the next morning. No babies yet, so not making the French toast casserole, but I am making some pancakes for us. We do have some plans to go out on a family bike ride, walk along the river today. But before we leave, I'm making some sourdough pancakes. This is my toddler's favorite breakfast, and since he's kind of the only kid home, just him and the baby, I asked him what he wanted this morning, and he said pancakes. So I am whipping up some sourdough pancakes. This recipe is on my blog, so I can link it for you guys down below, but it's just sourdough starter, some eggs, a little bit of coconut oil, baking soda, honey, stirring it all up, and then I'll just fry it up in my cast iron skillet. And then we just top this with some butter and honey, and I served it with some fresh milk. All right, I'm going to take a quick moment to thank today's video sponsor, Element. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing that you don't. I personally love Element because they have no added sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients. It's gluten-free and it has no fillers. So on this day, we are heading out to go on a bike ride. We still just have the two little boys, so we're gonna bring the little bike trailer to put behind my husband's bike. And then we also might just go on a walk. We have a really pretty trail that is about 10 minutes from our house that goes along the river down where I live, and so we want to go on a walk or a bike ride, probably both. I'm not exactly sure how the baby's gonna do in the bike ride. I always find that whenever our babies are around the age that Jacob is now, they don't love going in the back of the bike trailer. So if the bike ride doesn't work, we are going to go on a walk, but I want to bring some of our electrolyte drinks with us, so I am filling up the water bottles with the mixes in it because it is very hot today, pushing 90 degrees, very sunny, and so I want to make sure that we are staying nice and hydrated and replacing electrolytes that we might lose while we're out enjoying our bike ride and our river walk. Element can prevent and eliminate headache, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleepiness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiencies. It is very important to replenish electrolytes, especially this time of year when it's super hot outside and you're spending extra time outside in the garden, working in the yard, playing baseball, working out, or just keeping up with an active lifestyle. Right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. This is a great way to try all 8 of the different Element flavors or share it with a friend. You can get yours at drinkelement.com/ouroilyhouse. This deal is only available through my link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/ouroilyhouse, or you can use the link down in my description box below. All right, so here's some clips from our family walk. We ended up doing the walk and not the bike ride because whenever we went to get the bike trailer out of the garage, we noticed the straps were broken and the baby would definitely need straps. I don't think he would stay sitting down without those. So we opted for a walk, which was a great idea. We had such a great time. We made it 2.5 miles, which I thought was pretty good, tugging along the two little guys, and it was very nice, even though it's hot out, because the trail that we walked on along the river is nice and shaded. Okay, so after the bike ride, we went and got some sushi, and we decided just to take it home. After we put the boys to bed, we had sushi while watching a movie. My husband and I both love sushi, and any time that we get a chance, we will get sushi. It's our favorite thing to get out to eat for sure. It's just so good. We have a favorite place in an area near us where we go just pretty much every time we go out for a date night, we end up getting sushi. All right, guys, so this is later on in the week and we have a baby. So my oldest sister had her baby yesterday during the day. It was not overnight, kind of like I was expecting, but I went and picked up a few of her kids right after she had the baby just to give her and her husband some time to relax and enjoy the new baby. And so while I had her kids at my house, I made up that French toast casserole. Now I won't lie to you, this is the third loaf of bread that I made. So I've already made two, well, actually I just made one into a French toast casserole and another loaf into just French toast. And now this is the third one, so it's nice and fresh. I'm actually just pulling this loaf out of the bread machine right before making this. And so it's still hot, and they're gonna get a fresh French toast casserole. And after I'm done making this and I bring their kids back to their house tonight, because I have two of their younger ones and she thought it'd be best if they slept at home, I'm gonna leave this so in the morning all they have to do is warm it up and they will have breakfast. And then I am planning on going back in the morning to pick up her kids again to give her another day of rest with the baby, and then I'll just feed them at my house and then bring them back another meal for dinner. Now, all of this is pending on the next baby. My younger sister is planning on having her first baby, and she is planning a home birth, and she has asked me to come and kind of like be her doula and just help her to relax during contractions and be there whenever she has her baby, which I am just so excited about. Honestly, I told my husband that watching a baby born is like my favorite thing in the entire world. I've only ever seen two other than my own be born. I was at my sister's birth yesterday, but I wasn't inside. I was outside watching some of her kids, but still being there the second he came out was just, it's just nothing better than seeing a fresh newborn baby. So I am so excited for my next sister to go into labor. But for now, I'm enjoying the first of my new babies, and hopefully the other one will be coming soon. So now this next clip is actually the next day. I actually have my kids back home, but I am making a pot roast for my sister's family that just had the baby. So I'm getting that started this morning just by putting a dry rub on there, and then I'm gonna sear it in some butter with some garlic, and then I will add some broth to the Dutch oven, and I'm just gonna let this cook for a few hours, and I will come back to this a little bit later. Now, while this is in the oven, I am doing a few chores here around the house. I'm gonna first take care of the animals. I'm just letting the chickens out, giving them some scraps, collecting some eggs, and then feeding the kitties and the dog. And then I'm heading in to just do a little bit of cleaning around the house. There isn't too much to do, but I'm just vacuuming and wiping down and doing some windows, and I'm always constantly wiping down the walls. I feel like that's a never-ending job with kids. I'm always telling them when you walk down the hallway, just keep your hands in, but nope. They walk down with hands just spread out, rubbing them along both sides of the walls every time. So wiping down walls is kind of a job that I try to do at least once a week. Now, the next thing that I am doing here is I am going to organize my pantry. This is a job that has definitely needed to get done. I feel like when I get home from the grocery store, I just start like shoving things in, and oftentimes my daughter will reorganize it for me because she's gets annoyed whenever I just kind of like throw things in. It's just, I would like an organized pantry. It's just sometimes time doesn't allow. And so things get just shoved in. But today I'm actually taking every single thing out of the pantry. I am wiping down each of the pantry drawers, getting it clean, and then I'm going to put everything back in it. Now, when I first moved to this house and I saw that this was my only pantry, I was like, this isn't going to work. It's not big enough. You know, like I was used to having a walk-in pantry in my last house. It wasn't huge, but it was definitely appeared to be way bigger than this. And I have to tell you guys, this pantry is so great. I love it. It holds way more than you would think. Obviously, you can see that as I'm taking everything out, just how much stuff I have shoved in here. But the drawers that when they come out, it's so nice that I have that it's easy actually to find what I have in here. If I keep it organized, that is, but I really like it. So first thing I'm doing, like I said, I'm taking everything out, wiping it down, and then I'm just sorting things into like categories. So getting, you know, the condiments together and the baking things together, the spices that are in here. And then next I'm refilling some containers. So I have all of my like sugars and flours and nuts and baking things all in little containers, and some of those were empty, and I have an overflow of these. Actually, I have a hallway closet where I keep some of these overflow things and things like my Instapot and crock pot and water bottles and things like that. So I guess I do have a little bit more pantry space than just this, but I am refilling some of those containers before putting them back in the pantry. And then once everything was cleaned out, reorganized, refilled, I started putting things back in like categories, just the way my daughter likes it. And then it'll be easy to find what we need. And I find that when I actually do this, I see like, okay, so next time I go to the store, clearly I don't need to buy any more ketchup and mustard. Those are things that we don't like to run out of, and you know, they last forever, so I get quite a few of those, but I'm seeing now that we have plenty. So next time I go to the store, remind myself not to get those. We have lots of honey, lots of syrup. And so, you know, I'm just kind of taking inventory, seeing what we have, seeing what we need more of. And this is a great thing to do before you head off to the store. All right, so after I was done with the pantry, I'm going back to the pot roast to get that finished up. While it's in the oven, I'm also slicing up some carrots to roast, adding some oil and seasonings to those. And then I'm going to get some mashed potatoes going because that's what I'm going to bring for the sides with this roast. So for the mashed potatoes, I'm just peeling and cubing some mashed potatoes, cover them with water, bringing them to a boil. And then after I strain those, adding in some butter and milk, whipping those up. And then I think it is the best to make some gravy with a pot roast. It just adds so much to the meal. So I'm removing the pot roast from the Dutch oven, and then I'll put the pot roast back on the stove with all of the drippings and the broth that I cooked it in. Bring it to a boil, add in a little bit of flour, whisk it up, and let it simmer to thicken. And then after the roast is sliced up, I'll put that back in the gravy and then Let's put the lid on. This will be easy to bring over to my sister's house. I will find a different way to transport the mashed potatoes and carrots, but I'll just bring this over and they'll have mashed potatoes and pot roast, carrots and some gravy, and hopefully this will last them for a couple meals. I know that she doesn't have all of her kids home between my mom and her husband's mom and me. We're trying to help her keep most of the kids out of the house for a few days just so they can really bond and with the baby and rest. But this will be some good postpartum meal to have on hand for hopefully lunch and dinner. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And like I mentioned, I have several of the things that I talked about linked down in my description box below. So I'll have that there for you, and stay tuned. Hopefully I'll have some more baby news soon when my other sister gives birth to her baby, hopefully in this next couple of days. If you're new here, please that subscribe button. I get out new videos every single week.